Basically, I want to start off the show with obviously, the Jazz are one of my favorite teams. Rudy is one of my favorite players. Just judging off what the Jazz have done the past couple of years, do you think that this Jazz team has run its course and it's time to blow this team up, or do you think that they need to just tweak what they have, or do you think they need to, like I said, make some huge changes, trade everybody, and just start all over?
Uh, the way I feel about basketball and building championships, right, is you build around the NBA's elite talents, right? You have, I think we talked about it. The MVP has been an offensive award probably since the Defensive Player of the Year has been established.
For
Every
sure.
now and then they might get a little, frisky with it. Derrick Rose, AI, where you don't have the most efficient offensive seasons from guys, but they'll be a little bit cooler. But for the most part, they're going to give it to the most incredible offensive players because that's who provides the most value as a player to the NBA, right? The most offensive celebrated talents, right? Because that's what everybody comes to see is offense.
For sure.
Defensive player of the year, right, is obviously the defensive side of the ball. So I feel like when you building championships, you build it around NBA elite talent.
For sure.
And Rudy Gobert is probably the most elite interior defender in the NBA by far, maybe in the last 20 years.
For sure.
As an elite defender, right? Interior. Now, that doesn't mean he's a diverse defender. I don't mean you could bring him out to the perimeter and he could guard the motherfucking guard. He's 7'3", 7'4". Don't mean you could always pop him out on small forwards and he's going to have the most success. But when it comes to protecting that rim consistently, altering shots, and making sure the looks aren't there, Rudy Gobert is one of the best to ever do it, right?
For sure.
I think Donovan Mitchell is an above average offensive player. But again, he's not an NBA elite offensive player. So I think at that point, no different than, let's say, the Detroit Pistons from 2004. I think you start to build it around that, right? Even when Dallas couldn't figure it out, right, through Dirk Nowitzki's, amazing offense as an offensive talent, this MVP, right? They finally get Tyson Chandler, who emerges as one of the better defensive players to ever play basketball, right? Then you find Jason Kidd. This is definitely an elder version of Jason Kidd, but Jason Kidd has always been a two-way threat, so he can help from the offensive side of the ball as a playmaker, and he's a monster as a guard on the defensive end, right? And then at that point, you can defend the perimeter to some degree at a high level, like Chris Paul and Jason Kidd at this point in their career. And then you could defend the interior with Rudy Gobert and Tyson Chandler. So I think they have to make a decision. And the decision I think they should make is you have to let Donovan go.
I agree.
You have to let Donovan go. If you allow Rudy Gobert, you have an NBA elite talent. That is so rare. How many people in the league get an MVP or a defensive player of the year?
Yeah.
How many teams even have that?
And he's three of them, 3 times.
Yeah. So I think it depends. If you want to sell seats, I understand why you keep Donovan Mitchell. He's a pretty good star in the NBA, offense sells seats, you'll do good. If you want to compete for a championship, you have elite talent there. So I think it's their decision. Obviously, I'm a Laker, so I'm about championships. So I would keep Rudy. I'd be looking to trade Donovan for, like I told you before, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, maybe to the Raptors and try to get what's the brother, the power forward? They got so many of them 6'7", 6'8" guys with 7'3", 4 wingspan. You could pick a couple.
For sure.
I'd be looking to around Rudy Gobert. I'd look to hide his weaknesses of not being diversity, which is not weakness to me. He's 7'4", so why the fuck would he be guarding a guard? So
a guard.
I'd be looking
and also he can do it decently. Like he can do it.
For a guy 7'4",
yeah, for a guy 7'4", he can 7'2", he can do it decently. Like I was saying before, you law doing right. How do you have a guy who's won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, if I'm not mistaken? He's in the running every single year, and no teammate can make even second team all defense?
Oh, they don't have any defense.
That must mean you have terrible. Like, I would assume if you have a guy like Rudy behind you, that should already make you a better defender because you have a guy like that behind you. So how do you have this guy behind you and can't none of y'all even get the best defender? The best defender that they have is Royce O'Neal, and that's not gonna get it done.
And I think Mike was a good defender at one time.
He was,
but I also don't think. I think Quinn is a two-way guy, so he don't necessarily draw up the greatest stuff. But they're a horrible defensive team outside of Rudy Gobert.
I agree,
and so I think it's easier. Any great NBA elite that's been able to win championships, right? Even let's say last year with Giannis, Drew unlocked the perimeter defense, right? As a great perimeter defender. So now you have a great interior defender, right? And a guy who pop out and guard the wing a little when necessary. And you have a great perimeter defender, right? That's a compliment. Before that, right, you had the compliments of Kawhi Leonard and Gasol at that point, who was in his twilight, but this was a defensive player of the year, and you had some good things to go around. Before that, in Golden State, right, you had the perimeter defense of Klay Thompson and the interior defense of Draymond Green, and then you was able to have Steph play the passing lanes as a thief and Kevin Durant to shot block. Before that, with LeBron James, you had LeBron James. Again, this goes back historically.
For sure.
I mean, even to the Showtime Lakers, where, like I just was saying, one of the greatest travesties in Laker history is Michael Cooper's jersey isn't retired. Michael Cooper was just as instrumental to every Showtime title, right, as James Worthy.
For sure.
At minimum, probably more instrumental. You know what I mean? Like Klay Thompson is one of my favorite players of all time, but Draymond Green is more instrumental to the title than Klay Thompson.
I argue with people about that all the time, but
yeah. And I know it's unpopular, but it's true. Again, I get it as a general fan. Like we live our whole lives believing in the countdown, right? Of 3, 2, 1, shoot the shot. But there's defense to stop the other team. So you have a chance to win the game. You have to stop the other team. Like, nobody's going to score all night. So if you are not the guys stopping the other guy, you feel me? Then guess what? You always playing catch up. But if you can get a stop, then that one basket can mean something. And I think historically, building around the NBA's elite is how they've won titles since the late 80s. The last great guy who didn't get an independent award, that they were able to build a title around, right, was DJ out of Compton, Dennis Johnson, rest in peace, right? Not the version that played with the Celtics. That was an older version. DJ from Compton went to Dominguez High School. Dennis Johnson was cold. And they put him with Seattle, Jack Sigma and a couple guys, and they were able to win a title. People didn't realize as a guard, DJ averaged like 3 or 4 blocks in the finals as a guard.
And they went back-to-back finals too. They just won one.
Their defense was like destructive. You know what I mean? And I think he's a big reason why they was like, we need to move forward on the defensive player of the year. That needs to be a conversation. And after, it's been no confusion.
For sure.
So whether you're building around NBA's elite, right, offense, right, you got a guy that's an MVP, right? You need to put some guys as first team, especially offense. Offense is hard to build a winner around that. So let alone like if you keep Donovan to build a winner around that, it's going to be
hard.
Tough.
It's hard
because it's hard to build a winner around one MVP.
For one, I don't think Donovan's offense is that special. Like again, I think I think we have seen many Donovan Mitchells throughout history. I even said last episode he kind of reminds me of a guy like Monte Ellis. And I don't know if a lot of our viewers are old enough to remember Monte Ellis, but Monte Ellis was nice. Like Monte Ellis averaged like 25 points in the National Basketball Association before. But again, he's a guy who's about 6'1", 6'2", relies a lot on his athletic powerness. He can't really play point guard. So that already, unless you're gonna get a point guard who's like 6'6", how many 6'6" point guards do they really make? Your backcourt is gonna be small, meaning you're probably gonna have to at least get your forward's gonna have to be 6'8", 6'9" to just have a good size amount of team. So again, I'm with you. I think you can find more Donovan Mitchells. You're not gonna find a guy, Rudy Gobert, who is undoubtedly the best paint defender in the NBA. You're not gonna find that. That's a easier role to build around. Like I can tell you what to get with that. Okay, go give me some more 3-and-D defenders. Maybe get somebody who else could score and give me about 22, 23 points, but give me some more defenders.
Yeah, I would. No different than when Larry Brown, what they realized they had with Ben Wallace, and you got Tayshaun Prince, you got Chauncey Billups. That's how you build the winner. Everybody else, you just need to play a little defense and a little offense. Rasheed Wallace, I was just talking to somebody, the credit that he gets for the Pistons
is outrageous.
Success.
I rock with Rasheed, but it's outrageous.
Me too, but Tayshaun Prince deserves that.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Tayshaun Prince is the most, and it's funny because they give it to Chauncey Billups, and I'm like, nah, it's Tay. Tay was like even when they won their championships, the job Tay was doing on Kobe was sickening.
Yeah.
I mean, Tay had that length, that versatility as a defender, and Tay is from Compton. So that's just real business. And I think you build winners around that. You go get this man, a guy that could be first team, all defensive as a wing. You go get a guard who could become an all defensive guard. Like I said, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You try to get Mike Brown. You get some defense to go with this defense, and you get some buckets, man. You can steal a championship in Utah for the first time. You know what I'm saying?
They was running out Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson and Jalen Brunson. I like Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson is a very good basketball player. But the way they made Jalen Brunson look, Jalen Brunson would pull up that footage to get $100 million from somebody, and Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson should get fucking royalties off that $100 million for the way they made that man.
They made Brunson look like Brunson out there looking like Isaiah Thomas or something.
Luka came in and there was no drop off. Yeah. That was like no drop off. That should not happen. I like Jalen Brunson. That shouldn't happen. And then everybody blaming Rudy. I'm like, bro, I'm 7'3". If I got to help to the corner, you getting beat all the time. Like, bro, you have to take some pride in guarding your man. It's only so much I could do, especially when the court is spread out 5 wide. It's only so much I can do.
And I'm 7'4".
And then also, again, I know people talk about Rudy's offensive game. Do I think Rudy is offensively skilled? He's okay. Number one, offensive rebound is a part of offense. Screen setting is a part of offense. He's probably one of the best screen setters. A very willing screen setter. He will set screens all game, roll, and don't get the ball.
Yeah.
He's a very willing screen setter. And don't complain ever. So, again, and also, I don't think that they even do a good job of manufacturing offense for him. Like, I even remember, I think when he took one shot, I think he took in one game. He took one shot in one of those games. They came out and ran like a punch play for him. Bro, why are you running a punch play for Rudy Gobert? Yeah, he messed up. He probably ain't got that play all season. Throw the man a lob. Do something else. So just running this subject out, I personally think, yes, it's time for Utah to try to do something different. I think they went a little bit too offensive heavy. And I think it backfired on them because, again, you can't just allow you in the
gotta have elite talent, man. Yeah. And when you have elite, but that's the whole problem. The problem is building around Donovan or building around Rudy. It's like, obviously, you need a player better than Donovan Mitchell on offense.
For sure.
So at that point, if you're not going to get a better than Donovan Mitchell on offense, you know what I mean? Then what are we doing? Like, you can't get guys worse than Donovan Mitchell is on offense.
Because again, with Donovan's height, the way he plays, his size, he will always run into, at the highest levels, when you get deeper in the playoffs, somebody who can stop him.
Yeah.
Always.
It's only so many Steph Currys, and it gets tough for even for the greatest player under 6'6", he gets tough.
For Steph sometimes.
Tough, yeah.
Tough Steph.
But again, this is the best guy ever under this size, and Donovan Mitchell would be so far down the list of guys under 6'6". Would he probably be like in a 40 through 50, 50 through 60?
That high?
Yeah, because the best guy under 6'3" is 6'6" is Steph Curry.
Yeah, then you go D-Wade somewhere in there.
D-Wade is right there.
Isaiah Thomas is somewhere in there.
Boy from the Celtics that nobody talk about. Cousy is somewhere there.
Yeah.
The other boy for the Celtics that nobody talk about. They small forward was about 6'4", 6'5".
Sam Jones?
No, Hondo.
Yeah.
Hondo.
Russ is somewhere in there. I think Russ is somewhere in there.
Russ is there.
Russ is somewhere
Zeke is there.
And
Yes,
this is people we talking
he
about, and then we
might.
talking about Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell was not like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I can get you some other people
not in front
before
of none of those guys.
I can
Not in
get you
front of
some
John
other people.
Stockton, not in front of Chris
I'm
Paul.
gonna
We ain't
get you
even
Tim
got to the
Hardaway first
yeah, we
before I
ain't
get
got
to
the Gary
Donovan Mitchell.
Paytons.
We ain't,
Yeah,
I'm,
we ain't got the
yeah,
Gary
I'm
Paytons.
gonna
We
get
ain't
you a
got the
lot of
Jason
other people
Kidds.
before I get to Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah,
What we
like
saying, baby?
how
So
many shooting guards will be before Donovan
Donovan
Mitchell?
Mitchell. There's a long list of people that might be before Donovan Mitchell.
For sure, I know 10 right off the rip, and there's probably gonna be another 10. Joe Dumars.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
people.
Joe Dumars is in front of Donovan Mitchell.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
lot.
tough.
It's yes. Basically, in theory, it's a lot of people who can get to beat before we get to Donovan Mitchell. So if this is you planning to build your franchise around
Derrick Rose.
games, yeah, D-Rose. If you're gonna build your franchise around to actually attempt to win games, I don't think this is what you want to do.